How's it going, everybody? So let's talk about the watch list for next week. I mean, obviously, I have some stocks that I like. I'm going to have my favorites. That can change because if for some reason there is news on a stock next week that happens to come up, elevated volume in the pre-market, some sort of news catalyst, technical catalyst, I am going to make that a main watch. But just going into the week, as far as technicals on the daily chart, these are some of my favorite stocks, and I'm going to go over them and the levels and why I like them. But I posted this on Twitter, and I also made sure to post this on Instagram. So if you're not following me on my other social medias, make sure to do so. And these are my other social media accounts. Also on Instagram, I have a broadcast channel where I do little morning briefings of the market overview and my watch list. So feel free to join that. It doesn't cost anything. My Instagram is @Matt_Diamond. Twitter @TheMattDiamond, and then YouTube is obviously just Matt Diamond. These are my main social media accounts where I'm most active. If you're only following me on one of these, go follow the others because I try to put a lot of value out to the trading community. Now to go over the watch list and the levels. Now, obviously, when it comes to the watch list, it's going to depend on what the market is doing. So I'm always watching SPY and the QQQ every single day. And I make sure to map out prior day high and prior day low. So if it happens to clear one of those out, do we get a reaction to the upside or a reaction to the downside? Because I want to make sure that if the market is going to the upside, I want to trade stocks to the upside. If the market is selling off to the downside, I want to make sure to focus on stocks to the downside, going with the overall flow of the market. So my eyes are always going to be focused on SPY and QQQ and those technical levels. But as far as getting into the individual stocks that I like, just based on technicals on the daily chart. Look at this Nvidia. Had a failed breakout above 500. Feels like it's still kind of digesting the earnings news. And this closed below the 9 EMA on the daily. So could this lead to something bigger? I have no idea. But just keeping it very simple. Stuck under 500. Also stuck below the 9 EMA. Looking at the last 2 days of price action, this 477 is the low of that. If we end up turning 477 into resistance, kind of get below that and reject it to the upside, it looks like Nvidia has room down to the 20 SMA at 464.81. But if it holds 477, this could have a bounce to the upside, but there is some resistance above, so it could be choppy. So really that 477, a key level on Nvidia. And I'm also looking at Tesla. I like Tesla because look at this daily chart. That's forming a symmetrical triangle on the daily. I mean, as far as the technical pattern name, they call it a symmetrical triangle. Really, I just call it price compression. Feels like it's getting tight. It's stuck in a range. It's kind of in between the 50 SMA and the 9 EMA, forming some sort of price compression, consolidation. And I know the personality of Tesla. When it chooses a direction, it can get going to the upside or the downside. So really just keeping an eye on some upside resistance and some downside support. And if we break one of those and the market is going in the same direction, I feel like this could have one of those really big up days or down days. And if so, I want to make sure that I'm watching it that day because I feel like there's going to be a lot of scalping opportunities. And the next is going to be Amazon. I don't love trading Amazon because it doesn't have a very big average true range. It's not moving a lot each and every day. But when it has some sort of technical catalyst or a news catalyst, it can provide some decent opportunities. And this kind of looks like a flat top break a little bit. Call it what you want, some sort of wedge pattern. But really, I'm just seeing this as more of a little bit of price compression, consolidating above the 9 EMA, this little prior pivot high, 147.74, call it 148, inside day the prior day. And if this were to get above that and above that 148, maybe this could break out to the upside and who knows, get to that psych level 150. Even though this does look good on the daily chart, it's not going to be something I'm obsessed with because the range on Amazon is not great, like I mentioned before. So I want to make sure that if it does break out of this, it's going to be done on elevated volume. So there's an opportunity for those options to really move. And another daily chart that I really like is this Airbnb. Look at what's going on. That's forming price compression, flag pattern, consolidation, whatever you want to call it. Just the idea of there's a battle back and forth. And look at those wicks on some of those candles. Feels like that's where sellers kind of stepped in, maybe anticipating a downside move. If we end up getting through that 130 and we clear out that upside resistance, this could potentially be a bull flag breakout. Also, there is an open upside gap on the daily chart at 135.36. So if we break out of this bull flag, that's where I would think it could possibly go to. Now, nothing has to happen. This can break to the downside and then also fill the downside gap. So nothing is certain in the market, but if we end up breaking to the upside and we turn that resistance into support, I'm going to be looking for scalping opportunities to the long side. And the last one on my list, as far as the favorites that I'm looking at going into next week, is going to be ARM. So this ARM IPO had a 2-day push, sold off pretty aggressively, and it's just been consolidating at the lows. And look at this long period of consolidation. And on this candle, on November 20th, it broke out of that consolidation, and now it's just trending above the 9 EMA. The IPO high is $69. So I'm just thinking of this from the perspective of momentum. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people watching this. If Nvidia or the chips end up going, in one direction, or everything kind of goes to the upside, maybe this ARM can catch some momentum to the upside with it. So really the main technical levels that I'm looking at is going to be prior day high, 64.92. If we end up kind of basing over that, maybe have a day or two of consolidation, and then we clear out that IPO high at 69, this could be on breakout watch. And if there is elevated volume, I would think it could trade clean. And if it trades clean, it's all about making sure those options have tight spreads, high volume. And if they do, there's probably going to be some good upside opportunities. Now, nothing has to happen. This could end up consolidating a little bit, and then for some reason, it ends up just selling off. And then in my opinion, the trade is a no-go. I don't see any setup there. Really, I'm just keeping an eye out for that 69 high above that for potential breakout watch. And that is pretty much it. I mean, those are my favorite stocks going into the week. If there is news on any other stocks, those are going to be top of the list because I am a big fan of trading stocks that have fresh news or a catalyst or some sort of technical catalyst. So that way they have elevated volume and they can trade clean. But as far as just strictly daily charts and technicals, these are my favorite stocks that I'm watching going into next week. So that's it for the video. I appreciate you watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.